border, increasingly concerning is the potential for a coordinated attack here in the homeland, not unlike the ISIS-K attack we saw at the Russia concert hall back in March.
Hi guys, welcome back to XCOM 2.
Not long ago, but the FBI director, like so many other top security experts in this country, are saying the threat is real, and something that happened over the last couple of days is reigniting it. Alexis McAdams has more from New York City. Alexis.
Hi, Neil. Well, right now, we know that these 8 suspected terrorists are all in federal custody being held by ICE. For now, a source familiar with this case tells me a majority of these guys were all arrested right here in New York City. I talked to a Democratic councilman, a Democrat, Neil, who said he is sick of hearing about what's going on at the border. He's fed up, and he believes New Yorkers are just not safe anymore because of it. Listen.
It's frightening, and we're headed for another 9/11. I predicted that. I think we should have a secure border. We should know who's coming into our country. We don't, and millions of migrants and illegal aliens have gotten through. So it's a situation that we're just, really rolling the dice here.
In just the last few days, the group of men from Tajikistan were arrested. Investigators believe they have ties to ISIS. According to sources, these guys were, quote, fully vetted at the southern border, but hey, somehow nothing was flagged, so they were allowed right into the United States. Back out your live, we can tell you it wasn't just a sting by ICE and federal officials in New York City, but also in Los Angeles and in Philadelphia, where they made a majority of these arrests. According to the New York Post, listen to this, the feds used a wiretap to try and listen on these guys who ended up being arrested, hearing one of the guys talking about bombs. Once again, these men have not been charged with any crimes at this time, so they're in ICE custody. What that means is they're going to be held by ICE, Neil, and then really they could just be sent back to Tajikistan, Neil.
All right, thank you very much for that, Alexis McAdams. I want to go to Nicole Parker. She can always make sense of this fear-mongering, but this time this isn't about fear-mongering. This is a legitimate terror threats. Nicole Parker, of course, the former FBI special agent, Fox News contributor. Nicole, when I heard that among the countries cited here were those from Tajikistan, last time I checked, nowhere near our border, but at our border, and taken at our border. I'm just wondering what's going on here.
Well, first of all, Neil, this is anything but fear-mongering. This is a fact. Our nation is in a very vulnerable and dangerous situation right now. For the last 3.5 years, we, in essence, the United States, have had an open border, and it's basically an open invitation for any to come across the border. All are welcome, and that's a problem. Foreign terrorist organization groups are capitalizing on this open border, and nefarious actors, they are taking advantage of this for every single moment that they can, because they are coming up against very little. There's no one stopping them. They can come in as they would like. And I think the important point to discuss is vetting. Vetting is virtually impossible. Now, you're trying to vet individuals. Customs and Border Patrol agents have said that their hands are basically tied. They have been told, look, we've got to get as many people through and as many processing individuals through, so you're going to need to shorten the amount of questions that you're asking. On top of that, you've got gotaways. We have no idea where they are. They haven't even encountered anyone from law enforcement. And I think the most important point is some individuals are providing documents. They're providing fake IDs. Why in the world would they provide a proper identification? At the FBI, they have something called the TSC, the Terrorist Screening Center. That is a database that is used to look up and say, is this individual a potential terrorist? Are they on the CT watch list? That system is only as good as the data that is entered into the system.
God, I love that
shit.
shit.
We have individuals that have never had an encounter in the United States. There's probably no derogatory information or any information at that. So how are you supposed to stop a terrorist when there's no information when you type in the name? We don't even know if it's the true name. So this is a problem for the United States, and frankly, this is a problem for the FBI.
Nicole, I'm wondering if we as a country have gotten too blasé about this. There are a lot of people, a whole generation, including my two sons, who were born after 9/11, so it's in their history books, but they haven't lived it. But we all went through and remember what happened in Moscow with this coordinated ISIS attack on a theater center and public buildings. And that was only a few months ago. But it doesn't resonate for a lot of Americans who feel, all right, that's over there, it's not over here. What do you tell those guys?
What I have to tell you is that I myself was a witness to the 9/11 terrorist attacks the morning of September 11th. I was working for Merrill Lynch. I was in the World Financial Center, and I have never forgotten that day. Never, ever. And to see individuals jumping to their death, that is unacceptable, it is evil, and that cannot occur again in our country. But with the gross negligence, gross incompetence of this current administration, allowing individuals to come into our country unvetted, we don't know who they are, we don't know where they are, and now the FBI is now on defense. As an FBI agent, I wanted to be on the offense. I wanted to be in control of what was happening. Now, Americans feel like sitting ducks. You know, I know FBI agents right now, and they don't sleep well at night because they know that if we get attacked, they're going to be the ones picking up the pieces.
You know, we talk about the numbers who are apprehended at the border. Leaving aside just the numbers, it was a little more than 5 years ago that they were primarily from about 5 or 6 countries, including Mexico, Guatemala, or Ecuador, that sort of thing. But now it includes better than 120 such countries. It's a more diverse population, as I said, from some of these all but terrorist states. That doesn't happen accidentally.
Oh, not accidentally at all. Like I said, they are capitalizing and they're saying, look, we've got this certain window of time and we're going to go for it. No one's going to stop us. You know, do you think that China, Iran, India, all of these individuals coming from these various countries, many countries that absolutely hate us, there's nothing more that they would like, Neil, than to wreak absolute havoc, destruction, and terror in our country. And that cannot happen. And now, let's hope for the best, but I hate to tell you this is just the tip of the iceberg.
I hope you're wrong, but you've been really pressing on a lot of this stuff, Nicole, but very good seeing you. I think we needed to hear from you right now. Nicole Parker, the former FBI special agent, and not to put even more fear in you right now, but from cruise ships to gun ships. Have you seen this fun and sun and apparently guns in the Caribbean? So imagine you're on a cruise ship and then your honey says, hey, have you seen this Russian military vessel? There are several here. What the hell are they doing there? Which is here.
We've never spoken, but you've told us many things. That you love stargazing, hate parallel parking, and occasionally your right foot gets a little heavy. The Lexus ES didn't begin in the studio, it began with you.
Has your advisor created a portfolio based only on your age and risk tolerance? That's simply not good enough. At Creative Planning, our private wealth managers learn about you first. Don't settle for a standard portfolio. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com.
I'm Richard Carr, and I love my hose. My hose is lightweight, my hose will not kink, and my hose is anti-leak. It ain't those old hoses. This is my hose. The new pocket hose Copper Bullet, now infused with real copper, so your water is always clean and lead-free. Just turn on the water and watch your hose grow and grow to a full-size 3/4-inch hose. It stretches and expands like a rubber band. And when you turn off the water, away it goes, shrinking and squeezing that water out until it's practically bone dry. And that makes it easy to carry and put away. Our new inner tube uses 3 layers of high-strength latex on the inside. Then it's wrapped in a new polymer filament jacket, similar to the technology used in forest fire hoses because it's light and tough. 3 times stronger than the other hoses. It's guaranteed for 10 years. Nearly impossible to tear or snag. And the redesigned connector protector helps stop leaks at the spigot. But my favorite part of our new hose build, the oversized, easy-to-grip fittings. Easy on and off, even with gloves. With more than 100 patents worldwide, it's the best pocket hose in the world. Get the super light 25-foot pocket hose Copper Bullet today for only $29.99. But wait, call now and get our copper spray nozzle with our exclusive thumb drive free. Simply use your thumb to turn off and on. And with 10 unique patterns, you'll have a setting for every job. It's a $30 value. Yours free with every 50-foot Copper Bullet. But it's not available in stores. This is an exclusive release of our newest pocket hose. There is a strict limit of 3 per order, so don't wait. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-709-4650 or visit copperbullethose.com. So call 1-800-709-4650 or visit copperbullethose.com. Order now.
If you have Graves' disease, your eye symptoms could mean something more. That gritty feeling can't be brushed away. Even a little blurry vision can distort things, and something serious may be behind those itchy eyes. Up to 50% of people with Graves could develop a different condition called thyroid eye disease, which should be treated by a different doctor. See an expert. Find a TED eye specialist at isitted.com.
All right, well, House Republicans still plan to vote on holding the Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress, and the Justice Department refusing these demands to get audio recordings of that presidential interview with Biden. We'll have more on that after this.
You know what's crazy?
That this is better than cooking at home. I mean, more affordable than groceries.
Of course. Groceries are expensive.
I thought I was in trouble there for a second.
You are.
We never thought that with Verizon sitting on the best in entertainment was going to be so easy.
Disney Bundle, Netflix, Max, now we don't miss a thing.
Before, we had to pretend we'd seen all these shows.
I mean, we're not really good actors. I found it so pure.
Pirates?
All I could do is nod. Say so good.
I was on the edge of my seat.
I know, so good.
Now that we have Verizon, we're just not pretending.
Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, Netflix, and Max. All for just $20 a month. Only on Verizon.
My turn.
Let's get the rest of these plants.
Organic soil from Miracle Grow has grown me the best garden I have ever had.
Good soil, and you get good results.
This soil will blow you away. It's the Martha Stewart of soil.
All right, provoking us in our own neighborhood in the Caribbean, and that's what it looks like the Russians are up to. And it's bringing reminders, especially since a lot of their ships are coming in and out of Cuba or in that neighborhood, that it's 1962 all over again. A possible crisis. The Russians say nothing going on here. Move on. They don't get keen concerned about it, though. The U.S. Foreign Star General, Fox News, contributed so much more. Institute for the Study of Board Chairman, former Vice Chief of Staff for the Army, the real McCoy. General, this is weird, right? I mean, we think of provocative behavior, in the Red Sea and then in other areas, this is a little odd and sort of bringing up some history that isn't too pleasant. What do you think of it?
Well, the Russians have done this routinely for a number of years, but they haven't done it since 2019. Obviously, up the shore of the United States in Cuba. I think there's a couple things happening here. One, they certainly want to lend support to their ally in Cuba, which is having a devastation of a time, with their economy. Some of these ships will likely go on to Venezuela for the same reason. But the other thing strategically, I think Russia and also China, they know that the United States has always had a preoccupation with the Western Hemisphere, sort of belongs to us, and we're kind of protective of it. They would love to see us get bogged down by the fact that they are involved in the Western Hemisphere ourselves. Multiple administrations, Republican, Democrats, are not going to fall for that. And we won't fall for it this time. Even though we're going to monitor these ships in terms of what we can learn from the exercises. Now, they've said their most modern capabilities here. These 3 frigates have advanced weapons on them. And the most consequential ship is the submarine that's here. It's a nuclear-powered submarine without nuclear weapons. It really carries conventional weapons, and it carries ship-to-shore weapons and also anti-ship missiles itself. Both of those types are advanced. But this class of submarine, the Russians, Neil, have finally caught up, after a generation of our stealth technology that we really had in advance of them. In other words, for our viewers to understand, the ability to detect the submarine from sonar, etc. We have always had a decided advantage over them. And they're showing this off a little bit because this is their most advanced class of submarine in terms of stealth and also the missiles that they're carrying. So I think this is in their national interest to promote this. It's in our national interest to watch it. Don't get too excited about it. Don't get bogged down by committing resources to something that's not that consequential.
All right, I hope you're right on that, but it does bring back to a lot of folks, the backdrop of the Cuban Missile Crisis and that neck of the woods. Of course, the then Soviet Union was building, missile launch facilities there, and it got much more involved. Now, these are military vessels, to your point, but that it is not reenacting that. So that's as you could tell.
No, I mean that actually posed a threat,
right.
Clearly, to have those kind of missiles off the shore of the United States. This is not posing a threat, and that really is is the difference. I mean, we don't need to be flippant about it or anything like that. I mean, obviously, Russia is promoting their capabilities in the region. They want our allies and partners to see their capability, and that's in their interest to do that. And then, you know, China, for example, has a relationship with every single Latin American country in the Western Hemisphere. Every single one. And some of that is at the expense of the United States. Russia has some of that, but not as extensive. So they really want to have influence in this Western Hemisphere. And as I said, they have huge objectives, as we see in Europe, in the Indo-Pacific region, also supporting Iran's effort in the Middle East. And they would love for us to spend a disproportionate amount of our attention on what they are doing in the Western Hemisphere as against to what they're attempting to achieve in those other regions.
Got it, General. Thank you, and more importantly, for your incredible service to this country. I just want to remind people. I don't think they need to remind me, but thank you, General Jackeen, on that. You know, a lot of people are still waiting when we get the details, or you know, a little bit some months down the road about Hunter Biden and the sentencing for what he's looking at. It turns out that the judge on these matters is pretty serious, and you know, well, not much jail time is expected here, if any. This judge has a history of throwing the book and throwing the offender in jail, sometimes for a lot longer than anyone thought. To this.
Citi's industry-leading global payment solutions help their clients move money around the world seamlessly in over 180 countries. And help a partner like the World Food Program as they provide more than food to people in need. Together, Citi and the World Food Program empower families across the globe.
Every day you make big decisions. You crack every crisis and tackle every task. But sometimes you need a little something more. At Bed Bath & Beyond, great deals on great home updates make every choice easier. So make being the commander-in-chief of your home a little less demanding. Shop now. BedBathAndBeyond.com.
Isolated, depressed, and embarrassed. That's how it felt to live with bladder and bowel incontinence. But that changed when my urologist told me about Axonics therapy, a long-lasting solution that has really changed my life. This is not another drug, and it works. Visit FindRealRelief.com. Arrange an appointment with an expert physician to determine if Axonics therapy is right for you. Results and experiences may vary. Stop suffering in silence.
When a car breaks down, a race car driver would call a pit crew. You should call Endurance.
I've had 4 claims for over $8,700.
Without Endurance, breakdowns can cost thousands. With Endurance, you're covered. And you pick the mechanic you trust.
Right now, you can get $300 off any plan. Plus, a year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value, free. All backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. Call 1-800-920-5441 for a free quote.
At Biz2 Credit, we know when you're a small business owner, business is personal. Every challenge is a chance to grow. When the time comes, Biz2 Credit helps you get funding to expand your business. Our easy and convenient process makes it simple to take the next step on your journey. When a business is ready to grow, Biz2 Credit makes it possible. Biz2 Credit. Funding what's next.
Attention former Marines and family members stationed at Camp Lejeune. If you lived or worked at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina for at least 30 days from August 1953 to December 1987 and have been diagnosed with cancer, neurobehavioral effects, had a child born with birth defects, or been diagnosed with fertility issues or more, significant compensation may be available. Call Legal Injury Advocates now to process your administration claim before the August 10th, 2024 deadline. Call 1-800-571-7272.
There wouldn't be an hour in the day that I didn't think about hair thinning. I chose Nutrafol because it was 100% drug-free and clinically tested. I experienced thickness, volume. Nutrafol is life-changing.
Get growing at Nutrafol.com.
Switch to Shopify so you can build it better, scale it faster, and sell more. Much more.
Take your business to the next stage when you switch to Shopify.
In the furniture business, things move fast. ZipRecruiter helped us hire qualified candidates who can keep up. We needed a project manager yesterday. We posted a job on ZipRecruiter and had our guy on site in 5 days. He was qualified in every way. ZipRecruiter finds the best candidates for all of the jobs. And they helped us build our dream team, and we did it fast. Was that too fast for you?
4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/box.
All right, first Republicans asked nicely, then they started asking more often, trying to get their hands on audio recordings of President Biden's interview with the special counsel investigating his handling of those classified documents. We know that special counsel gave certain liberties to the president because he appeared old and seemed flummoxed. Well, they want to get the audio recordings of that, and they've been demanding Attorney General Merrick Garland hand them over. He's in contempt of Congress for refusing to comply with subpoenas, demanding doing just that. Aisha Hasni has the latest on where this stands now. Aisha.
Hey, Neil, good afternoon to you. Well, it's about to happen in a matter of moments. We are just one vote away now, looking at the House floor, one vote away from the main event, this vote on contempt for AG Merrick Garland. Speaker Johnson, when he walked onto the House floor, told us that he has the votes needed to pass this today. Again, Republicans have a very, very slim majority, a very slim margin of error here. And he certainly has the momentum. Neil, I can tell you that as of this morning, I have the names of at least 6 House Republicans that were still undecided, were on the fence on this contempt vote. One of those, the most likely to buck the party and not cave into the pressure of the party, just spoke to me a few minutes ago and told me that he is now leaning towards a yay vote, and that's because he was able to get the information he needed to finally come on that side. He saw a letter from the White House that proved that it was AG Garland who pushed the president to basically invoke executive privilege. So he is now feeling a little bit more likely to be a yay on this. Now, Republicans, of course, have been arguing that Americans need to hear these audio tapes for themselves because her, of course, did not charge Biden, and he cited that it was because of the president's age and his poor memory. They want to listen to that, and they want you and me to listen to that too. Democrats, Neil, are worrying that Republicans will manipulate and change and cut and slice and dice these audio tapes into political ads during an election year. And Garland, of course, has also pushed back on this and said that he doesn't want to hand these tapes over because he's afraid that future witnesses will be compromised, that they won't want to cooperate in any sort of political investigation, a sensitive investigation, if these audio tapes are released, and that could hurt future cases. So we await this vote. It's coming up here shortly. This is the 7th vote we're watching in a series of 8, and the 8th one is the Garland contempt vote. So I'll be here watching it with you, Neil.
Much appreciated, Aisha Hasni. I want to go to John Yoo, what he makes of this, former Deputy Assistant Attorney General. John, Democrats have been arguing, we don't know what the Republicans are making a big fuss of. A transcript of the president's interview with the special counsel, Robert Hur, has been provided. It's pretty good. You get word for word what he said. So what's the big deal about hearing every word he said? You say?
So the courts have applied this test, which is sort of like what the courts do all the time when they're not sure. They say, let's have a balancing test. On the one hand, let's ask, why does Congress need this information? And balance it against what is the executive privilege and interest here for the executive branch. Now, the problem with what the president's arguing, I think, is that they've already released the transcript. So how much more executive privilege are they really protecting by not allowing the audio and video out? On the other hand, Congress can say, look, we want to make a judgment about the state of the president's mind, his capabilities. Did Robert Hur make the right decision not to prosecute because he thought President Biden would look very frail and forgetful on the stand and a jury wouldn't convict him? So I think if this ever got to court, and I don't think it will, but if it ever got to court, actually the executive branch's arguments are not really that strong to protect audio when they've already revealed the text.
Now, obviously, the executive branch has the audio. They know what we sounded. They've probably played it back themselves. So they maybe come to the conclusion, I don't want to be so jaded here, it's not in our interest or the president's interest to release that.
Yeah, of course, it's not in his political interest. Right. I mean, if you read the transcript and you see the weird jokes that the president was making and the forgetful moments,
that's bad enough. I really agree. You're quite right. I mean, if the transcript didn't sort of, make you shudder, maybe the audio certainly, I'm sure, would cement that impression. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's right. The audio might make it much worse because if he sounds forgetful, uncertain, halting, that's going to reinforce this image that President Biden is not really fully capable when he's in the office. Now, the problem for the White House is that political self-interest doesn't equate to constitutional interest of the presidency. The reason why the Supreme Court has recognized executive privilege is because they want to encourage people to speak to the president, to give him their candid advice, which they won't do if it's open to the public, basically. The problem is when you release a transcript to the House already, you've given up on that interest. You're not protecting the confidentiality of discussions with the president. So what the White House already did by giving up the transcript was, I think, to undermine their real constitutional position. Even though politically, you're quite right, Neil, I think it would be very harmful to the president's reelection interests, for example, for everyone to hear an audio of him telling these bad jokes and saying going off on these weird digressions and so on in a very weak voice that doesn't show that he's in command.
And I'm just wondering, the backdrop for this is some, unsettling images and video moments with the president. I don't mean to belittle them, or him for that matter, but it has been fueling the argument that he forgets things, he looks out of touch, and that maybe the White House is trying to shield more examples of that from us, the American voters. Is this something that we need, though? Is this something that serves a constitutional purpose that the public should have it, should hear it?
Right, and recall that the House says what they're doing is they're investigating whether Hur should have gone forward with the prosecution. They'll notice also the House is conducting, remember, some kind of impeachment investigation. And so that is an investigation into whether Biden is fit to hold the office. Is his position, is his mental capability so deteriorated that he really shouldn't be in the office anymore? Now, the House can say that's part of our legitimate oversight power. That's why we want to hear not just read the transcript, but we need to hear and see what the president was saying. Why did the special counsel here make those comments about the president being too forgetful, not being fully there, that a jury wouldn't be able to convict them? I think that is important information for the people to know, not just for the November election, but for whether Biden should be president right now.
Well, that vote is going on right now. Again, this vote, to hold the Attorney General contempt of Congress for not complying with subpoenas demanding.
Save this.
That it goes its way, and they do hold.
See you next time, all right? Peace. Should be soon.
Talking about this could set up quite the constitutional epic showdown here. What happens after that?
I'm glad you asked that because I forgot to mention that I don't think this is going to get to court. We were just talking about how the courts would look at it, how they resolve this conflict between the president and Congress.